And the topic for today's video from Austin, Texas is how to break out of a dry spell. Inspired by a few of my friends who have recently moved to a new area and don't have the sort of rotation they did in their previous area. They're trying to get their feet wet again in the new, and maybe some other parts wet in a new area. And they haven't had quite the success they would have liked over the first few weeks. And it's always interesting to transition to a new area because number one, different cities have different sort of culture and customs when it comes to dating and hooking up and that sort of thing. But also it's interesting because if you've been in an area for a while, you probably have some level of momentum in that area. You probably have some girls that are in your rotation. You probably have a lot of positive social feedback already awaiting you. Whereas when you move somewhere new, you don't have that. And so it's very natural to not feel that same level of social momentum, to not have that same sort of like innate sort of fallback confidence that you have. And it's also maybe even possible to feel like the new environment is somehow different or foreign or not even safe. So these are all things that you want to sort of get out of the way in terms of moving to a new area and in terms of the dry spell in general. So I'll kind of deal with the two together since it's a related topic, but mostly I want to deal with the dry spell topic. So whenever I have moved to a new area or whenever I've relocated, one thing that I've always been pretty persistent on is that I like to get set up strong. I like to hit the ground running when I move there. And so one thing I've always done personally is I'm very good at online game. And so a lot of times before I move to the area, about a week or two beforehand, I'll just like completely spam the online dating site for that area. And then I'll get there that week and I'll have, like 10 dates set up for that first week. And when you do that, it's almost impossible to have any kind of dry spell. You get your feet under you very quickly. You also find out a lot about the city. You find out sort of like where the good places to go are. You are forced to figure out places to go on dates. You talk to a lot of people who do go out a bit and who are familiar with the city. You figure things out. And worst case, you end up with some friends. Now, what I will say about that process is almost every city that I go to and do that, the girls who I end up hooking up with in the first week are not my same girlfriends 2 months down the road, because I'm not in a situation where I'm overtly looking for, like, screening for super high quality or being extraordinarily selective about who I spend my time with, because I don't know anybody yet. I'm just kind of trying to have a good time, trying to get my feet wet, trying to get my dick wet, and just going with the flow and figuring it all out. And then occasionally I will meet some really cool people that way. But I find that's one really good way to get momentum. If you're not into the whole online thing, I'd recommend doing something similar, but doing it with going out. Maybe give yourself a 1-week challenge, a 2-week challenge when you first get into town, and focus not even so much on necessarily hooking up, but on just developing a ton of social connections, getting a lot of like friends in the clubs, developing a lot of day 2 type situations so that you have that abundance. It's always nice in terms of abundance to be looking at your phone and seeing people continually hitting you up. It's a good reminder that you are in demand. Whereas if you have like the one night stand that doesn't go anywhere afterwards, or the one night stand with a girl you're not that into even, that tends to just fade the next day and then go away. So it's a situation where I even do maybe potentially recommend getting phone numbers, accumulating leads, that sort of thing, and even saying yes to plans in general, even if they're not plans that will necessarily go to sex. I recommend just getting out there, getting social, getting acclimated to the new area, or if you're in a bit of a cold streak and just like feeling socially down, getting acclimated to going out again, getting acclimated to having success again. Okay, so that's the moving to new area cold streak. That's sort of how to get your feet under you. And the big thing is just make that commitment to get it going strong and make that commitment to social first and to even taking day 2s. I'm not a big fan of day 2s lately because I tend to be pulling very, very regularly when I go out. But I think in terms of developing that social momentum, they are pretty good for that. Other things to do in terms of dry spell though. First thing is if you're even like in the headspace of I'm having a dry spell, that's a bad place to be. You don't want to be thinking that because that's a very like outcome oriented, like focused on the thing that you can't control way of looking at life. You don't want to be thinking, girls aren't sleeping with me, girls aren't kissing me. Focus on what you can put into it and focus on not the short term, but more the longer term. Realize that your goal with game in general isn't to get laid tomorrow or next week. Your goal, remember what you got into this for, is to get the best girls, the hottest girls, the type of girls you really want, the harem that you really want. Keep an eye on that long-term view and recognize that the skills that you're learning along the way are what are going to get you there. So don't get caught up in, did I get laid tonight? Did I get laid tomorrow? Did I get laid yesterday? That sort of thing. Because the more you focus on it and the more you get sort of impatient towards it and outcome focused on it, it's actually going to work against you. The best way I found to get laid, the best way I found when I'm having off nights, is actually to completely divorce myself from outcome, forget that outcome even exists. Okay, so I'll do a few different drills. Number one drill I'll do is I love to do the no talk game drill, because when you game, and I do this for whole sets, it's not just the 30 seconds or 1 minute no talk, it's go in the full set, no talk. When you go in no talk for the whole set, there is literally no way you can make it succeed, except for that one time in my life I actually did. But basically, there's no way you can make it succeed. So you have to go in and recognize it's gonna fail, and the only victory you can have given that it's gonna fail is that you can have fun. That's the only thing you can get out of it is fun. And so you go in with that mindset at the outset of having fun and just looking to create a great experience, which is what actually will get you laid. Right? What will get you laid is creating a great experience. Trying to get you laid won't let you get laid, but having a great experience and bringing a girl along with you will let you get laid. So that's one really good drill for us. Just take a night and do that and recognize you're not going to get laid that night and recognize that it's fun. Remember that the game is fun. Remember that the game is about you, not about the girl. Another really great one, I give this one to students, is I say go into set and I want you to fail intentionally, but I want you to fail in a fun, clever, creative way. Okay? And funny thing that happens, a lot of times I'll give this to students who are getting blown out of set after set after set. I'm like, look, if you're failing anywhere, getting blown out, you know what, let's go to the next one, let's just try and fail. But let's have fun, because you look like you're not having fun right now. Let's at least just have fun with it. The funniest thing happens, all of a sudden when I tell them to fail, all of a sudden they're in set for 30 minutes, an hour, getting phone numbers, girls like pulling with them by accident. I'm like, you fucking idiot, you can't even succeed at failing, right? But the point is, by going in with the mindset of having fun and failing, that tends to work as well. So anything you can do for that mindset. One of the ways that this really brought home to me was Alex has a philosophy that he espouses where he says pulling is impossible, which is an absolutely ridiculous thing for Alex to say because he pulls more than pretty much any human being on the planet. But he goes in with the attitude that pulling is impossible. No matter what, it's impossible to have sex with a girl on the first night. And so his goal is just have fun, find a good group of people, hang out, and have an amazing experience with that group. And funny enough, when he does that, they just don't want the party to stop. He ends up staying with them, ends up being with the girl when she goes to sleep, and things happen. And so he gets a ton of one-night stands by believing that one-night stands are impossible, all right? So the whole trick here is to divorce yourself from the outcome. And maybe the broader idea in terms of game in general is the idea that a lot of times when there's something going on in your mind that you need to fix, the best way to fix it is with your body. So when there's something going on with your body, a lot of times the best way to fix it was with your mind. So an example of that. We used to teach body language. We'd teach like the 25 rules for perfect body language in early boot camps like 2002, 2003. And what would happen is we'd say, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Teach all the body language not to do. And what it would do, it'd make students nervous, put them in their heads, and they'd do all the things we told them not to because those actions were a manifestation of nervousness. When conversely, we just told them like, be confident, believe this thing, go in like you own the place. All of a sudden, without telling them what the body language you want to correct was, that confidence that they had in themselves automatically corrected the body language. So to correct something physical, oftentimes correct the mental. To correct something mental, like an idea of state, if you're thinking, I want to get myself in state, I want to get myself in state, I want to be on, and you're thinking about it, the more you think about it, the more you think about not being on, the more you become off. But the way to correct it is through action. Just take action, do 6 steps, do the drill of no talk opening, do the drill of trying to fail, do some sort of physical action, go outside and scream something at the top of your lungs, and then go back in the club. Go dance up a storm. Take some physical action because that physical action will change your mental space. And a lot of times it's better to deal with it less directly. So when you're in that period of lack of abundance, when you're in that period of drought, what am I suggesting again, just to review? I'm suggesting 2 things. I'm suggesting number 1, focus on the process. Focus on the process and focus on the pipeline, but also be aggressive with the pipeline. Either hit up online super hard, hit up going out super hard, get yourself lots of day 2s, get numbers even from girls you don't like just so you have them blowing up your phone and you're just getting used to it and you're getting that abundance mentality again, okay? Take a lot of positive action, but take the positive action without an outcome in mind, all right? I hope that helps you. I hope most of you aren't in dry spells, but I hope for those of you who are, that helps you get out of it.